Alright, hello, princess. I know. Alright. Do, do, do. Boom! Hello. Hello, everybody. Mic right? Yep, there we go. Sure. Starting off stream strong with my cat screaming. Hello, hello, hello. Let's bring the music down a touch. There we go. Ba-bum. You know, Mr. Late, you are this master servant, subverting expectations. Oh, am I? Is it because I started on time / mildly early? Is that why? Subverting expectations is a thing I do attempt to do oftentimes, both in writing and in my personal life, I guess. Oh goodness! Oh goodness gracious! Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, that is of in my yeah. It's me attempting. That is what. If you ever wanted to know what it was like to watch, like, what if you put a rom-com through a Wilight colored prism, that's what you're gonna get. that's the kind of rom-com you're gonna get. Yeah, it's interesting. It was an interesting experience. I did not. Oh, really? You did not anticipate something so scandalous? Oh, yeah. It's yeah. I mean, in a very amusing. It's very amusing in a jaded sense. Yeah, I mean, it's a cyberpunk story, so you've got to have your sort of like bleak futurist nihilism with the feel goods of a rom com. And I also tried to use it as a. Oh, good. I'm glad. The first page, yeah, the Tinder swiping bit, yeah. I actually that whole opening scene. I do love a VO. The VO, Cat's VO at the beginning is pretty fun. Yeah, I was pretty proud of that. But you are definitely far too young to remember this. But I mean, even I am technically, because I wasn't really around when, nor was I dating when this was a thing. But back in the old days, back in like the early 90s, adults would videotape themselves doing like a pitch to date, like essentially like, you can message this person here. It was kind of like the like trying to like the singles section of the newspaper, but people would videotape themselves, and they're really funny. You can find them on YouTube. All you need to find is just like old like dating videos, because people were awkward and really weird. Like the kind of people who did it were bizarre. So they would just be like, "I like long walks on the beach," but some of them were just deranged and strange. So all I did in that opening scene was just be like, I'm just gonna take the Tinder mechanic, but instead of you swiping pictures, you're swiping this like weird old thing they did in the 90s. I actually am pretty sure the opening character Casanova, I based off an actual one of those where a guy had a rose and thought he was like and he was totally smarmy about it too, like doing the flip turn and just like, hello. Have you ever wanted to meet the most attractive man you've ever met before? Like that kind of thing. It's really funny. I highly recommend, if you have spare time, to go on YouTube and watch some of that. It's really funny. Well, don't worry, because it's not a spoiler for the script. You see every single one of those characters from that opening Tinder swipe. They all show up later in the script. It's not just random. I do call back to each and every one of them. But yes, I am a spring chicken, but not as much as I once was. And we, every day we can always say that, Ghostly. We can always say, never as much, never as much. Yeah, it's okay, Ghostly. It's definitely, yeah, it's erotic. So I know your tolerance level um, is on the lower side for that kind of thing. But it definitely doesn't, while being jaded and very punk rocky and too cool for school, it does have a level of like erotic intimacy in it that I don't want to. That yeah, it's okay if that's overwhelming for you because it is a sexual story in a lot of ways. Well, now I faint when characters hold hands. You're so British, so British. I'm happy. I'm happy that at least thus far you've enjoyed it to a certain degree. It's definitely out here. People have actually seemed to really enjoy it more than I anticipated. I kind of wrote it as an experiment to see, to like I wanted to write a script in every genre, including the genres that I don't tend to write or feel is like my wheelhouse, and comedy and rom-coms specifically, and like romantic stories are not like my wheelhouse. I watch them, but I don't write them. But yeah, people really like that script. I think it's because it melds kind of my sort of more cerebral, jaded, angry, nihilistic, the cyberpunky elements of it from that genre, and for whatever reason, it forces me to be a little bit like sweeter than I usually am. I've been called on many occasions a sweet summer child. I can picture that, so it makes sense, Ghostly. Um, it's giving raunchy Miyazaki. Yes, yep. Yeah, it definitely is far too lewd for anything Miyazaki would ever do, but the sort of it is kind of channeling that kind of same thing where you have a grumpy, angry old man who's forced to make kids movies, or not forced to make kids movies, but he seems to be really good at making like inspirational kids movies. But there's something to be said for having to contend with something that's diametrically opposed to your own disposition, because it's because it feels more earned, where you have to find that sort of like Miyazaki clearly has to find that like that strength and that catharsis out of his own like sort of jaded, very cynical view of people and the world. So maybe my sort of my particularly my hatred for like what rom-coms do. I think that I actually think rom-coms have a really grotesque view of romance and love in general. Not in all cases, but like in the standard like tropey things that they tend to promote, I find to be very like unhealthy. Unhealthy is probably the best way I can say it. And certainly not true to life and the way people actually operate and are. And so maybe dealing with that. And also because I was trying to understand modern dating, like dating with Tinder apps and all that, and like at like technology and dating, because I that's an alien world to me. So I like interviewed some people about their dating experiences. So a lot of it was me contending with that. I feel as though I got a little bit of that with Pretension Most Foul, because I am a rather wholesome person, I believe, in all those characters, but I are very much not. Yeah, and it's good. It's good to write, and you write them very naturally, Ghostly. Those characters feel very like, I mean, they're funny and they're quirky, but they, to a degree, are somewhat pretty well-rounded characters. They're not one note. They're definitely archetypes, but they're not like one note archetypes. So you clearly have understood it and have been able to like mentally kind of put yourself in that character, that sort of like empathetic nature, where you're able to like kind of empathize with people that are not yourself, and maybe like have things you either are uncomfortable with or don't understand, but kind of like give it a sincerity, because that's the biggest thing you want to do. The biggest thing you want to do with all of your characters is you always want to make sure that your characters are sincere. And if they're not sincere, by default, as a character, they need to sincerely be not sincere. You have to kind of always meet them on their own terms, instead of trying to, because that is the biggest critique. The first screenplay in the film that I went and made, I I have a habit of making fun of academia and professors and like the pompous nature of academics. As someone who spent a lot of times in a philosophy department, it just sort of rubbed off on me that way, where I'm like, oh my god, oh, you're insufferable people. But I had a habit of making them into characters, like actually just they weren't really characters. They were I was making fun of them. And it came off not only in the script but as the performance and the way I directed them, and they were the weakest part of the movie, and they were the least. I thought it was amusing at the time, but it they weren't. They were actually the least interesting part, and almost exclusively got cut, and are the worst parts of the movie. And that's my own fault. It had nothing to do with the way the actors were portraying it or anything like that. As an empath, I am an empath. Argo, why I'm so careful about what I read, watch. Makes sense, Ghostly. I was like that. When I was young, I was very sensitive, which is funny being a horror person. But I actually was pretty sensitive to things, particularly like sensory. It was very easy for me to be like sensory overload, but I couldn't watch grotesque violence. I had some pretty visceral reactions to movies. Um, and I maybe that actually might be why I kind of leaned into that later in life. I kind of, it was like the gaze into the abyss sort of thing, where eventually I just kind of was like, okay, I have to stare into the thing that makes my stomach hurt and makes me feel queasy and gross and terrible. I don't do that quite so much anymore, but I agree entirely. Yeah. Furthermore, why American Psycho is a scar I will wear now. I know. I feel bad for you guys. It's a really good movie. It's a fantastic film. Um, uh, it's just yeah. That is for what it seems like your sort of tolerance is. That is not a movie in a million years I would ever be like you should watch. And the fact that you've also seen Rubber too, which is another bizarre choice of a film. That one's definitely not quite as like hyper violent as American Psycho is, but man, Rubber's a bizarre movie too. You definitely got some eclectic films under your belt. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's right. You watched it super young, 7 years old. That might have actually been for the better. It might have been for the better that you saw Rubber that young. Maybe don't revisit that movie. Maybe that is why I am the way I am. It very well could be. Very, very well could be. Um, I rewatched it. Oh wow, you rewatched it like 3 times. I mean, were you just amused by the rolling tire? Because I could see that. That seems like a thing that as a kid you could like hyper fixate on, like a sort of need to like be infinitely amused by. Yeah, okay, yeah, it is an absurdist film. So okay, yeah, you enjoyed the absurdity. It is definitely like it leans into subversion. If you like absurdity, I don't know if you've ever, but I know you like your Brits. If you've ever watched Terry Gilliam, that was the whole thing. Gilliam was all about absurdity, making absurdity, a little bit of social satire about like bureaucracy and totalitarianism, but he would always lean into the absurd. And Terry Gilliam is probably the best director I could recommend for anybody who likes, particularly because he was the only American member of Monty Python. He was the animator, and he acts in a bunch of. He's got like some bit parts in the movies, but he was a big influence. So if you like absurdity, I definitely would. I'd recommend Terry Gilliam movies. Even from a young age, I enjoyed ridiculousness. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's a kid thing too. Like I definitely was tromping around being absurdist all the time. Clockwork Orange screwed me up too. Yeah, Clockwork Orange is rough. I actually could not make it through Clockwork Orange. I saw Clockwork Orange when I was in middle school, and I could not. It was actually two Kubrick films that like scarred me as a kid. One of them was Clockwork Orange, because I remember my brother got mad at me when he found out I never watched past the singing in the rain scene, because he was like, "No, that's like you've missed the whole point of the movie. You need to everything after that scene is what the movie's actually about." Because I was so just traumatized by the violence and the singing in the rain part, it like really messed me up. And interestingly enough, the other version was Full Metal Jacket, when the guys put the soap in their socks and beat and like tie down private pile at night, and then they all run around, take turns like beating him with it. Like that scene really messed me up as a kid. It's funny. It was two Stanley Kubrick films. That like both those movies, I think I had to watch like 5 or 6 times before I could make it through the movie. It's so upsetting. It really is. I mean, it's designed to be so. It's designed to traumatize you. Hey, Lex, welcome in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello. Welcome. We're talking about the movies that traumatized us as children. We were talking initially about, meeting characters and then meeting characters on their own terms and writing them sincerely. And we've now moved to traumatizing films. Yes, came into an interesting discussion. Yes, you did. That was extremely upsetting. I do not enjoy seeing people in pain. Yep. Me too, Ghostly. Me too. That is... I think because I work in film now, I can... It's hard because you actually don't want to always look at films analytically and be able to remove yourself, because the whole point is to feel it and what the intentional emotions that you're trying to go for and the reaction, like the reaction the audience you want to get. But certain movies I watch, it's actually probably why I don't watch a lot of like torture, like I've never liked torture horror films, but I have a very low tolerance. If you're gonna make me watch people suffer, there better be a good reason. There better be a good reason. And I get very upset at movies where it's just like I watch people suffer for no, what I find to be like higher artistic reason. I get very mad. Very mad. No apologies necessary. That's yep, we just talked about Clockwork Orange. That was, yep. That's one of them. I refuse to watch Saw. Yeah. So I saw Saw because I avoided Saw at all costs. Because it was like, it looked like a torture movie, and it came out when I was in high school. And this is going to be a secret. Okay. I don't know. Well, not a secret, but if everybody doesn't already know this about me, that I have a thing about puppets. Like I love puppets. Like I love the Henson thing, but puppets like made me laugh hysterically as a kid. Like really make me laugh hard. Like I don't know what it is about puppets and Muppets, but they kill me. Maybe it's like the wiggly arms and the fact that I'm pretty sure I actually am a Muppet, but like they make me laugh. So I went to go see Saw because Carrie Elwes was in it, from like Princess Bride and Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I love Carrie Elwes. So I was like, fine, I'll go watch the Saw movie. And and I hated it. Like I hated the whole film. It's just torture nonsense. But at the very end of the movie, the little Jigsaw, the little puppet guy, comes riding in on a tricycle. And he's got like this little suit on, and he comes riding in, and he's just like, and I literally I ruined the entire Saw film for an entire theater full of people because I started laughing so hard. Like, I mean, I had to like physically get up and get out of the theater because I almost like had to pee. Like I was laughing that hard. Like it kind of broke me a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, that's my Saw story. I actually, like, I hate Saw. It's a terrible movie, but I will tell you this. The puppet Jigsaw makes me laugh every time I see it, still to this day. It makes me laugh. Because it wants to be so edgy. It wants to be so dark and edgy, and it's so silly. It's such an insanely silly looking thing. And he's got like the little like nutcracker jaw thing. I don't know. It kills me. It just cracks me up. It will not be hilarious to me. Title, you know what? Life with Lex, that might actually be the title if I ever do an autobiography, because because this has been an ongoing thing since I was a kid, is everybody's like, you're actually a Muppet. I can't use Muppet because that's trademarked by the Jim Henson Company, but Puppet would work. Ghostly, that better be in the autobiography. Well, that's well, I'll do my best when we actually get around to it. All right. How about we dive in to a sprint? I actually have to write a resume today because there's some people hiring non-union writers, which usually is a red flag, but I gotta throw my resume in with see if I can actually get paid to write on the side. Do those darn trademarks. I know, right? I actually hate that Muppets are. It's because of the Muppet Show. It's trademarked. That's probably why it's Muppet instead of Puppet. Is he wanted a trademark thing? Hello, princess. Hello. So mad. But I've started chapter 2, and I'm genuinely happy about what I'm making the change. Oop, 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 oop. Genuinely happy about what I'm making for a change. Oh, fantastic! Yes. I'm excited to read your what you've got so far that you dropped in the Discord. I know, princess. I know you are so pissed. I know. All right. Well, let us go ahead and get started on our first sprint of the day. So you all can write, and I will just get yelled at. So, happy writing, everybody. We'll see y'all on the other side, and away we go. Okay. right, everybody, and that is the end of that sprint. Boop-boo. Here, let me go and start the down timer. There we go. Hopefully that was a productive sprint, or at least relatively productive. I had to end up spending the first half of that sprint on the phone talking work nonsense. It's exactly how I want to spend my focus time. All right. And we got an ad rolling in, so in like probably right now. So go ahead and dodge the ads. Run away from the capitalism. And we'll see you back here, or I don't know, everyone says there's a trick you can do where you like pop the thing out and it like dodges the ads. If you know how to do that, do that. But if not, go make tea or step away. May I ask your opinion on a story type? Sure, of course, Ghostly. What? Oh, never mind. Oh, no. Oh, good. You have a browser which sometime blocks them, and it has now. Okay, that's good. Yeah, Oh, you did it! Ghostly, oh, did you do the weird trick? I don't know. People have said there's a weird trick to, like, get it. You can, like, pop it out or something, and it, like, disables the ads. I don't know. If you know the trick, that's fantastic. I actually should probably experiment with the trick because I you know, for, like, Twitch. When I watch people on Twitch. I don't get to watch Twitch nearly as much as I would like, but sometimes. But yes, yeah, Ghostly, you're more than welcome to ask whatever. On a story type. It's intriguing. Like genre? There we go. All right. So I was taught many years ago of the idea that you do not introduce a character unless they have a greater purpose. Okay, sure. I mean, that's, I guess it depends what you mean by greater purpose and why. I mean, you definitely, like, should definitely have a reason for the characters that are there. You don't want a character to just be there for no reason. Unless that's the point. Unless the point of it is that these certain characters... Unless, I mean... Nah, do what you like, I say. Yeah. Yeah, that's good advice as well, Mr. DeCat. But I mean, sometimes... The one thing about rules of writing is when people say rules of writing. I actually just got done with a whole thread about this with screenwriting, because a lot of young screenwriters get really mad about getting feedback, and they're like, if you put "we see this" or "you do this" in any script, like, that's breaking the rules, and all the rules that you have, either from a genre, plot structure, all of those things are really just guides and suggestions and relying on structures that have existed for a long time and are almost all the time broken. Like, the point is just if you can write a compelling story, you can break all the rules because it's compelling. If it's a compelling story, there you go. The one rule, it's interesting. And I've built my whole first 2 chapters on these townspeople whom we will never see again, but I'm taking a little bit of time to give these people we will not see again depth to set a deeper tone. No, that's fine. You're talking about the road story, right, Ghostly? And this is one of those examples where I'm like, these are just guideposts and suggestions. These are not hard and fast rules at all. They're shorthand for the reasoning. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what they are. And I think that all too often you hear people... This is actually why I get really grumpy when people on Yeah. Yeah. Life with Lex put it really well. They can still serve a purpose and not be a big part of a part of a big one, though. Yeah, that's true. Particularly if you're doing a road story, that kind of is the point of the story, is that you're catching people at these sort of slices of their life, but these like very what appear to be inconsequential slices of their life serve a broader narrative that then it's either thematic or it is serving a purpose. It is saying something and doing something bigger, but it has nothing to do with and you're gonna have to have characters like that in a road movie or a road story, because the whole point of it is moving through places. It's why it naturally lends itself to vignettes and sort of a vignette style of storytelling. My goal is truly borderline uncomfortably insert the reader into this tight inbred community, and I think the best way to do that is to give us slightly too personal look into these random people's. No, that's fine. That's good. Actually, you absolutely should, because it's interesting, and then you can also use those. It's actually funny that you're doing that, Ghostly, because that's what I was working on with the Pond Boy script. Because every stop on the job while they're cleaning ponds and fish tanks, you're supposed to get deeply involved in these characters that we largely don't ever see again, and they're there to sort of serve a broader thematic purpose about both the characters and the world we live in. And where you can get really fancy is if you can start having those things reflect each other and inform each other. So one vignette thematically, narratively, or like poetry repeats or rhymes with another one later on. So it's kind of like a call and response kind of thing. Sometimes that's where you can get real fancy with it and start like actually layering the text, even though it seems random and vignette, but it can actually inform the other in a lot of ways. And that's how you build the structure. Emperor, or you can double down and run the whole novel in real time. That would be a wild experiment, Emperor of Finland. Surprisingly, it seems to work. It's like a Bellatar's Satan Tango, 7.5 hour movie about like a 1-day heist in a Hungarian town, and you're there the whole time, the whole time, and actually step back, because it's told in like structural vignettes, so you actually step back and repeat certain things. Ghostly, I have really enjoyed the enrichment side of the side character, because I have thought for a while that it was a capital sin. Oh, no. Don't. Yeah, it's not a capital. There are no capital sins in writing except for make it interesting. If you don't make it interesting, that's the only sin, because then it's not interesting, and, and even then you could try to get all meta about it and be like, it not being interesting is the point, but at that point I'm like, well, I'm not going to read it. But the only sin is to not make it interesting. Well, I have bad news for Dickens. Oh wow, Ghostly, you're firing shots at one of the greatest English writers of all time. For Mr. Dickens, not a fan, huh, Ghostly? So basically, as long as you make sure something always happens. Yeah, well, sometimes things don't need to. It depends what you mean by things need to happen. Like, something always needs to happen. There always needs to be a change. I wouldn't even say happen. Things need to change. And I guess that's another way of saying things need to happen. Yeah, because like sometimes when people say things need to happen, they're referring specifically to plot. And I don't think that's true. I think you can make an absolutely compelling story with almost zero plot. But yeah, I think like things there always needs to be some sort of transformation, change, or thing happens. A thing happens. Yeah, you can't just have a person sitting in a room unless now we enter their mind. Things are happening in their mind. Things like that. Ghostly, he can't fight me, he's dead. That's true, Ghostly. You have already won that fight. To be fair, you did win that fight already. You can get a lot of dialogue on the novel. Yeah. You get a lot of, just kind of like the examinations of that. Like, Dickens gonna pull Ghost of Ghost of Right. It would be. Oh, that's a really good. That's really good. Life with Lex. All of a sudden, like Ghostly wakes up in the middle of the night, and the ghost of Dickens is just there, and he's just like, "What? What? You throwing shade? You think just because a dude, you just think because I'm dead, I can't throw shade back?" It'd be really funny. Is it a fight if he's not there to fight? I mean, if he's a ghost. Ghostly, much like you, the philosophy major hate academia. I, the English freak, hate a lot of classic literature. It's fair. It's fair. Given your tendency to want things to move very quickly, I can see that. That actually makes sense. You probably don't like the ruminating literature. Like, I'd be interested to see how Ghostly responds to Marcel Proust, or like reading Swan's Way. Just like, oh my god, they're just walking up and down a street for 200 and 300 pages. I have a hot take, or just because it was first doesn't mean it was good. That's not, you're not wrong, Ghostly. You're not. And I actually do have a problem with Dickens because he was the way he was writing, because of the way he was paid. Because he was financially incentivized to expand his writing, which makes his stuff seem very like bloated and wordy. But I'd be curious to see how Ghostly responds to Dostoevsky, because he could write long and write short, and he could write short and concise too. You read something like Notes from the Underground or some of his short stories, and then of course, like, you know, The Brothers Karamazov or Crime and Punishment. So it just kind of depends. But I have a lot of hot takes of just, let's see, Life with Lex, heard, that would, the ghost of Christmas Past, heard you talking some shit. Here to, not to fire shots. Dude, I freaking wish that's how life's, how it still is. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Now you just don't get paid at all. I work a bit, Emperor Finlay, I work a bit unconventionally. Okay. Usually people seem to cut a lot from their novels or remove words. Yeah. I mean, that's what, usually in editing they do. They go trim things down. Ghostly, I would be loaded. Yeah, I think a lot of us would, because you always start off wordier and then cut down. I'm the proponent of using as many words as I want, and I don't really understand the notion of a reader hating reading words. You're not wrong. It's an interesting philosophy. I'll give you that. And you're not wrong that, like, yeah, that's, I like to read very long, opulent novels and very, like, flowery language, because you enjoy the act of reading and the pictures they paint. But yeah, a lot of people don't, man. They just don't. And particularly in film, where I come from, I can't use a lot of words because people reading screenplays hate to read. Producers, people that read things and greenlight movies, do not read books. They don't read, and they hate it. They hate reading. So to get them to be able to keep their attention in a screenplay is a struggle. So you have to be very careful with how you write it. Go say hello, nice to meet you. Is reader hating read words? You'd be shocked. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Or yeah, and that's the other thing too. The reader wants you to respect their time, which I agree with. I don't think that that's necessarily like. I think a reader, because that could be true with a story too. You can kind of, pull a story, like the rug out from under you, but at the same time, it is like, it's hard, particularly as you get older. It can be hard. Like, I understand I like reading short books now versus like a lot of the books that were longer that I used to read back in the day, because it's just a time thing. I can't write long enough. I can't write long novel. I don't think of plot long enough. I mean, you'll get there. Don't worry. And sometimes long novels don't have complicated plots. Ghostly has the attention span of a goldfish. That too, Ghostly. There's that too. Emperor of Finland. Why? I don't give a fuck about the reader spending the time. The reader can decide or not whether or not to read it. How the reader spends their time is not my... Well, I mean, yeah, to a degree, sure. I guess, yeah, if you, like... if you pick up a giant book and you like to read, I mean, I'm gonna be a little bit biased here and probably be a little bit more on the side of Oriem just because I'm older. Uh, and I do kind of, if I pick up a long book, I want to justify why I'm reading a long book. Particularly because sometimes writers get way too bogged down in certain things. I think that's more of it. It's less that they write a lot of words. It's more that if you bog down in certain areas that I'm not interested in or that aren't keeping my attention, that's where I start checking out of the novel. I have that problem a lot with science fiction. When I'm reading a novel, I'm reading it up to what the writer has done. I don't expect him to shorten it up. I let him do what he wants to do. I also write for myself. Yeah, true. That's true too. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, then that. Yeah. That if you're not writing for the public, then that's a whole different ball game. But if you are writing for the public, you can't. I don't think you can just dismiss outright what the public wants, and there is a fine line between becoming indulgent and then forcing everybody into your own indulgent that's not actually serving, that actually undermines what you're trying to even convey. And that's where I start to think there becomes a problem. Well, yeah, if you're writing for yourself, then yeah, you don't care. You write for yourself. I rather write what I want to write myself rather than write for the public. Yeah, and then just do that. Yep. Then there's no issue. But if you are writing for the public's you do need to consider people and how they read. So that's a separate thing. I would not nitpick a book based on how many words the writer used. Yeah, I mean not on its surface. I mean, I would never do that. But I'm going to tell you right now, if all of a sudden the entire story stops and he spends 3.5 chapters describing a hyper specific piece of technology in a sci-fi novel, then I'm going to be like, you're wasting my time. I don't care. Like that, this does nothing for the story. So that's the other side. But that's just my opinion. So, as long as it's entertaining, the word count doesn't matter. Yeah, I agree with that statement. I agree with completely. No, it does not. Ghost, I think maybe there can be a balance for me. I write what I want to write, but I try to balance what people would like to read. Yeah, and that's most people. Most people who want to write, I think that's like most people. Like, I think most people want to do that. Yeah, but I try to balance what people. It's like you always need to be considerate of what you're writing is communication. Like, you have to remember you're communicating an idea to other people. So, like, if you're writing for yourself, then you're writing for yourself. That's fine. But, or yeah, the word choice matters. So, I mean, that is the craft of writing, is word choice. Europeans generally don't have this complaint. Oh, the main problem is that Americans are too busy reading. I mean, I don't think it's just an American problem. Maybe the Europeans don't have that, but I mean, America, yeah. I mean, I think in general people just tend to read less, and that's a problem. Because you need a barometer of improvement. Um, yeah, I could agree with that. An average reader is not university educated. In the U.S. or in Europe. Elmore Leonard is my standard. Elmore Leonard, I'm not familiar with that writer. So they don't know anything about how books. So they don't know anything about how books are supposed to be written. Even I don't know. I write what could be fun. I mean, I don't even like how books are supposed to be written. Just sounds too elitist for me. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's different. It's a different thing to write to a college professor than to the masses. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Is the books that inspire? Oh, Get Shorty or Tarantino. That makes sense. Yeah, exactly, Ghostly. You have words on paper. You have a book. It's fine. Yeah. There is no like book supposed to be written. I don't know. I don't get too deep into the universe. Yeah, that's and I like classic literature. I read a lot of classic literature. I grew up on classic literature. I've read a lot of Dostoevsky, a lot of like Proust, a lot of that stuff. I was really into it. And I don't. I mean, like, but then look at like people like Faulkner. Remember, everyone hated Faulkner because Faulkner explicitly wrote against what was like supposed to be literature. He wrote stream of consciousness and in the language of the people. And like now we consider The Sound and the Fury like one of the greatest novels ever written. So I don't know. I think that's all kind of bleh. It's elitist. It's what is the trash or considered garbage one day oftentimes becomes like the sort of thing. So that's kind of like, but I understand the thing. Um, People that get published aren't university stuff. That's true too. Yeah, lots of times it's independent writers. Like, I mean, look, I mean, Stephen King is your go-to for like the blue collar writer. I mean, he kind of was the sort of blue collar writer for a long time, famously blue collar writer. Um, they are popular writing, like their life depended on it. Well, yeah, because they literally did. That's the career of being a writer. I don't. It's just a hobby to make. Yeah, and it should be, and that's absolutely fine. You absolutely should, and that's the idea. Is like that's actually why I write poetry. I write poetry, but I don't share poetry with people. I write that for me, and it stays in a book, and I don't share that. Lives with me, and that's all it works. That's where I keep it. Or yeah, I still hate Faulkner. Yeah, I mean, Faulkner's not for everybody at all. I have a hard time with Faulkner. I like Faulkner, but I have a hard time with Faulkner. Um, like some books are meant for the masses and some are meant for other specific things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all different types. It's all different types. I don't think there needs to be any like hierarchy of. I mean, there's. I mean, that's true with cinema too. A lot of people want to put like art films and then B movies and pulp movies and entertainment, mass entertainment films. It's all just cinema. It's all just works. It's all art. It's all art, and we can have our preferences for what type of art we prefer, and we can prefer all of it. And I think that's actually healthy to have eclectic tastes. I would be far more concerned about the story of a novel than if the optimized word count of the letter. I agree with that. The story needs to be there, but the words are important too, I'd say. The reason why the writing community has an obsession for words is traditional publishing, since it costs to print words. Yeah, there's that too. Although, yeah, and just in terms of just how much there was a period where there was a limit how much you could even publish in a book. It's why Tolkien had to split Lord of the Rings into 3 books. It just there were actual limitations in like book binding and what you could actually get away with doing. So you had to there was an incentive in terms of traditional publishing to limit word count. Everyone is going to find something different in what they need in every piece of media. Yeah, agreed. That's kind of the beauty of art in a lot of ways. So they're incentivized to cut down word count to maximize profits or cut parts that are not important. Yeah, I mean I mean there's holdovers from that too. I don't particularly now that we've moved into digital publishing, I don't know if that's happening quite as much anymore. I think people use word counts still as just metrics, but I don't think particularly with like a lot of younger. I mean, look at like young adult novels. Those things are pretty big. Like I don't think they're really they're coming down hard on word counts. Like some of those books are hefty. Like the fact that I think I'm reading Iron Widow right now, and that is I mean, that's like 330 400 pages for like a pulp, kind of what is a pulp novel. So oh yeah, it's there for the reader too, I guess. Yeah, I could give you an idea. We are writing stories, not optimizing, writing like a spreadsheet or minimizing word count. Yeah, that's true. But I guess I'm just not going to be as hard on. I guess I'm just not coming down as fundamentally hard on that Emperor Finland as you are. Because yeah, it's just romance novels are still short. That's true. Yeah, they do. Although romance novels have like an odd churning thing going on. It has like the way I know a buddy of mine who writes for romance novels, and that's like a whole different. They still write those books the way that like people used to write like those old Del Rey sci-fi books. Like they churn those things out like 3 a year. So it's not a traditional novel now. Anyway, so it's not a traditional. Oh, so my book will be 340K. So it's not a traditional. I mean that's fine. I mean look at Neil Stephenson. His books are huge. Iron Widow is forced into the wrong audience. The more I read it, the more it feels like it was. And romance novels are the forefront of innovation right now. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I know some people who are doing like a lot of self-publishing with romance, but I didn't realize it was the forefront of innovation. But yeah, I will never deny that Dickens and other classics are well written or good. Just by the Ghostly measurement, I get no enjoyment or enrichment because it's generally hard to focus on them and read. That's fair, Ghostly. That's fine. No, it's good. I mean, it's all the same topic. We're still talking about the exact same thing. So, um, I mean, it's all just based on your enjoyment, man. You don't have to make some broad, like, ontological claim about justification of it. Just if you don't, it's not your jam, it's not your jam, man. It's cool. It's cool. Um, so, there are more subgenres. Okay, I do know that, Oriam. I did hear about that there are a ton of subgenres in romance. Um, more than I even knew, and odd ones. A lot of them feel very like a lot of supernatural romance is like a thing I'm learning about now, which is wild. But yes. So yeah, the reason why I don't optimize word count is specifically since I will self-publish it. I tend to add more. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you, yeah, Emperor Finland, you are living in the world where just self-publish it, man. Do write as much. If to you the words are justified and that's how it needs to go, then yeah, man. It could be brilliant. You know, it's probably brilliant. Just don't. Yeah, yeah. There's no reason for it. But there are like people want to cut down for certain things like time, it's like saying like every movie should be 4.5 hours. It's like there are movies that are 4.5 hours that I think are some of the greatest films ever made, but not every movie needs that. I just don't get this notion of respecting readers' time. I've never expected the writer to respect my time. It sounds like entitlement. Yeah, in terms of some types of entertainment, it's fine. I think the notion of respecting time is kind of like a weird way to phrase it, but I do think if you're trying to communicate, you try to find the best way to communicate your ideas to people. And sometimes that is being longer, breathy, like longer, broader, bigger, and sometimes it's shorter and tighter. I think it's just I think I'm just always going to be on the story dictates. The story or what you're trying to say with the story is always going to dictate more than anything. So, and I'm gonna lean on the side of the writer to want to do that, but then again, it doesn't always go that way. Because look at like Ari Aster's last movie, Boo is Afraid, because that movie was insufferable to sit through, or like Babylon. So it doesn't always work out in all cases. I don't think they're terrible or monsters for doing it, but I definitely am like, well, that was the worst 3 hours I ever sat through. I hated that movie. So it can go both ways. It always can. That's just the nature of art. Because it's a uniquely human expression. So I think you need to allot it to be expressed. But I don't think you can ignore the craft and sometimes that there can be thematic power in brevity. Not in all cases, but in some cases. Supernatural romance has even subgenres within that subgenre. Yeah, see, Life with Lex, that's what I was learning about, was like wildly crazy things. Like the ghost of the supernatural subgenre, the ghost werewolf vampire show. I mean, ghost werewolf vampire all kind of makes sense, I guess. But there were so many weird things I was seeing. I was like, this is breaking my brain. We've gone way over time. I am sorry. I just realized how long we've been babbling, but it was a good convo. We're dissecting the nature of art, so we should probably jump into another sprint here soon, though. I don't grade stuff on time. I decide what I do. Yeah, I mean, but that's good. That's good. It's good. And that's how you should experience things. Emperor Finland. No shame in that. Ghostly Czars. 90 minutes. I don't like watching a movie over 90 minutes. I'm a goldfish. Yeah. But although I'd be curious how you'd feel about Bergman movies, Ghostly, because Bergman almost never made a movie over 100 minutes, and he's an art house filmmaker. I think he's one of the greatest filmmakers ever, but man, I'll give you this. You watch The Seventh Seal, you watch, like, Persona, that dude is tight. Those run times, he keeps those things short. Which is impressive for a filmmaker like him. Alright, I'm gonna run ads. And then we are gonna dive into our second sprint. Sorry, everybody, we went on way too long. My apologies. But it was a captivating discussion. one that I find intensely interesting. Um, I used to read novels that were 150, 350K when I was younger. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we all have from the 50s. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Ghostly, what a good man. You enjoy Orwell? Oh, the like 1984 Animal Farm, George Orwell. Orwell is great. That dude cared about language. Like really cared about language and the use of language. People tolerate stuff being slower. Then now it feels everyone has severe ADHD, and I have ADHD myself. But I can easily read a book for 1 to 2 hours at a time. Even if I get a headache from more than that, I would read more if I could. If content is not 30 minutes, if content is not 30 minutes, I hate it. It needs to be 60. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, that's all just preference stuff. I mean, it's you can't deny that technology has caused people to have like shorter attention spans or the need to be able to multitask or be distracted by things constantly. It's kind of a element of modern life. Um, I think you'd be. I think if you limited your how much like in terms of like social media or internet interfaces and just went out to like a cabin, spent a few months in a cabin, I bet you would find your processing of things and your ability to kind of sit with things would be much slower. It's just lifestyle and external stimuli and the way that our brains adapt to it, I think, more than anything else. And some of us can adapt and still like to, have the hyper fixation. And that is kind of a thing with ADHD. It doesn't mean you're just distracted. It means you can hyper fixate on things. Um, that must be nice. I envy the ability to keep interest in things. Goes, you might find that you can. You might find that you can. All right, it looks like we are back from the ad, so we are going to dive into another sprint, everybody. Happy writing. Much to think about. Much to think about, much to dwell on the nature of art. And yeah, we will see y'all on the other side. All right, everybody, that is the end of that sprint. Let me just go ahead and start the down timer. Hopefully that was a somewhat productive sprint for people. And for Oizel, I hope you got your pizza. Or a break. Before the other kids showed up. All right. Bring the music down a tinge. Ghostly, I've channeled my inner mood runes 1,000 words over the span of a day. Well done, Ghostly. Hey, that's over the span of a day is good, Ghostly. Embrace it. I think I had, boy, I think there was a period where I was trying to write like a 500 word, you know, like not really 500 words, but like in the ballpark, you know, like short stories. Yeah, and it would take me like hours to write like just 400 words. It would take me hours to do it. So congratulations. That's if you can channel the inner moon runes and just knock out those words and make progress, good on you, Ghostly. It seems like you going back and like like whatever that breakthrough was that you made in your rewrite of your first chapters really like opening the floodgates creatively. So it's good to hear that you're making good progress. I know, I'm excited to read it. Was it? It's called The Comic. Pure magic, I swear. For sure. I forgot what inspiration was. Oh, and just in terms of the, I know you. How long had you had this story on like the shelf for a while? I think, if I remember, because I know you were working on what were you working on? Oh, you were yeah, that was on your whodunit. Yeah, okay, yeah. You were writing like your whodunit, a bunch of other stuff too. About a year. Yeah, Pretension was foul. I always don't know why I forget the title of that. But about a year. Hey man, sometimes that's the magic amount. That's what'll do it. That's ugh. I've been feeling bad about the fact that because of work and everything, I haven't had time to sit down and actually like work too much on Pond Boys, and I'm worried I'm like losing the vibes. That's the one thing that like usually when you like finally channel the vibes of the story and you kind of want to like get them out, sit down and write it. I'm worried I'm losing the hangout vibes. So maybe I can sit down and actually get some of it done this weekend, but we'll see. It's been a blast, but I must away. Oh, you have a birthday game night with human friends? What are these things? These human friends? Fantastic, Ghostly. Well, yeah, go have fun. Go have fun. Have fun doing a birthday game night. Is it a D&D game night, or are you playing other games? I know I'm older. It's good. It's good. Always enjoy the human. Yeah. Never shy away from the human connections we make. So, go have fun at the party. Nah, they're human friends, but they're still online. Oh, okay. Oh, so Jackbox, awesome. All right, good day. Take care, Ghostly. Have a lovely evening. Have a great weekend. See you next time. I'm gonna have to probably have to run an ad break before the next sprint, which is fine. The game is hey March Archie. I should refer to your new name, March Archie. I don't want to I want to start learning it now so I don't keep saying Maya. I'm so used to Maya, so I will do my best to remember the new branding, the March Archie. I like March Archie. It's a good name. The game is fun. Oh, you're talking about Jackbox? Oh, it was a mistake. Okay, gotcha. Okay, Maya. It's easier for me to just keep going Maya. So, how goes the time zone, Maya? How you doing? Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot that you got your game as a celebration. Oh yeah, that's yes, Grand Blue Fantasy. Good. So it's fun. It's a good time. Thank you for reminding me. At first, there was already like I crossed wires because we were just talking about a game earlier. I know I sat down and played. I finally tried Baldur's Gate 3 on my PlayStation 5 because I've only played it on the computer. And I was just curious how the interface, like the control scheming, was different. And it took me forever to figure out how to throw an object to get, like, or to target, like, Lizelle to get her out of her little trap at the beginning of that game. Because I'm so used to just being able to click on things with a mouse. So. But it runs better on the PS5 than it does on my computer. So. I might have to figure it out. But I kind of still prefer the computer. Grand Blue Fantasy. Now that's... Who makes that? I'm going to look that up. Is it a JRPG? I assume it's a JRPG. Life with Lex. I started Baldur's Gate 3 on the PS5. It took me forever to switch. Oh, to switch to... Oh, so you did the opposite. You started on PlayStation 5 and then moved to computer. Yeah. I don't know why it's like... I think it's because I'm used to playing those types of games on a computer. That just, like, having the quick keys and, like, the sub-menu at the bottom, just... It's how my brain works. It's with those games, but... Like, I'm still having to learn. I still have a bad habit of skipping turns. And, like going through the sub-menus on the R1, R2 triggers. Yeah, it's, yeah, anyway. Yeah. That's funny that you had a hard time going back, because I'm like, how? It's all right there in front of you. But it makes sense. It's all just because how your brain adapts to playing the game. I do like the Mass Explore control. Yeah, the Mass Explore control on the PS5 is really great. You're right, yes. That is... I noticed that immediately. It's a lot better. For the tight areas with lots of chests, you're right. Yep. I think you can do something similar with the option. It's Option or Alt. It's one of those keys where it should try to do the same thing for you on PC. Something similar. But... I don't know, it's some gacha game, and they turned it into a single-player JRPG. Got it, okay. It's called Grand Blue Fantasy. Oh, it's the relink, okay. Oh, wow, 8 years of development? So it's, like, longer, that's longer than Baldur's Gate. Whew. I mean, I'm always going to be here for the art style. I don't know, I'm definitely a sucker for that, like, JRPG art style, man. I understand it. I understand it's you know, JRPG stuff, but... I'm a sucker for it. I'm here for it. I like that. I like the art. Oh, cool. I mean, it's got great reviews. People are loving it. It's got the Final Fantasy. Got the Final Fantasy dudes doing the music. So it's probably great music. And being able to move with a joystick, having the WASD controls as well. Oh, that makes sense. Life with Lex. Actually, that makes sense. Yeah. Because I like the ability to move around with the Joy control. Yeah, that's a little bit easier. Even as much as I like WASD, it is easier just having a joystick to run around, you know. But like, I had the quick keys for like, I guess there is the kind of the D-pad quick to hide. But I don't know. I'm still not used to it. Okay, I'm not used to it. I'm old, and it makes me upset. Sorry. There. That's my temper tantrum. um, Maya, it's a double A game, but goddamn it, actually has amazing graphics and the gameplay. Okay, all right, I'll check it out. I I love the style and designs of Final Fantasy games, but sometimes the linearity of them really bugs me. So I'm always it's always a love hate relationship, but I might dip back into it and give it a shot. Like give a JRPG a shot. Um, okay, good to know. That's the thing I miss. Okay, yeah, I think it's like alt or option, but it'll highlight everything that's like interactable, like pick up, chest, thing like that that hasn't been grabbed yet. That took me like halfway through a full playthrough to realize. Huh, oh no, the computer controls have lots of perks. Being about to actually organize inventory was. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. The inventory management of that game is nuts. Basically saying I know your plight, just the opposite. Exactly, exactly. I know your plight. Just like I don't like new things. My brain is hard. It no longer has the mush and ability to learn. All right. I'm gonna run an ad real quick. Yeah, because we got 7 minutes before they're gonna force me to run an ad. In that time, I'm gonna go top off my tea. Everybody, step away, get some tea, and then we will do our next sprint. So, if you get hit by the ads, I apologize. um, surprisingly, the bosses are very well done, fleshed out move sets without. Surprisingly, the bosses are very well done, fleshed out move sets without tedious repetition. Okay, all right, cool. I like that. Yeah, it's just like ever since Final Fantasy 13, I've been on the fence about. I don't know, man. They get so linear sometimes. Just the story and just you're just move from point A to point B. It's like ugh. But that's just me. I still like am a sucker for the design. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. We are back. The music just started? Did my headphone clip out? Why am I not getting... Ooh. Oh no, what happened to my headphones? Oh, there we go. I like, could not hear anything. Everything was broken. All right. Are we? All right, cool. We are back from ads. So sure. All right, let's go ahead and dive into another sprint. Happy writing, everybody, and we shall see you on the other side. Oh, geez, that snuck up on me. Woo! All right. Whew. I was like deep dive reading about whether or not it would require, like, if mining enough stuff to build a mega structure in space would affect the moon's orbit. I was in it. Oh man, I was really in it. Let's see. Life with Lex. During the last sprint, I downloaded a puzzle storytelling game, and it's pretty cute. Oh, a puzzle storytelling game? Interesting. You're given a prompt, and then characters and scenes, and then you have to figure out how to tell the story with what you're given. Interesting. Oh, interesting. So it's kind of like prompts in a way. Was there a consensus? I couldn't find any. I was trying to find one. I could not find one. It mostly, like, because initially they just talked about it in terms of mining. So if we, like, mined the moon the way that we mine on Earth now, it's very clear that that obviously would not affect the moon's orbit because it's just the moon's too big. But like, a megastructure is a megastructure. You're talking about literally building, like, a massive thing out in space next to the Earth and the Moon. I mean, it probably would not take, like, a planet-sized or even a small. I don't know. My brain says no, but I was like, I don't know. There's got to be smarter people out there, right, that can answer it. Smarter people than me. Interesting. What's the name of the game, Lex? Because that sounds. It's almost like prompts, kind of like. It's not like an RPG, but it's almost like you have to tell a story with, like, a series of, like, almost randomized prompts and put them together. Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah, for the most part. Alright, well, let me actually start the down timer here. I was kind of on the fence about doing another sprint, mainly because I technically still have an ear infection, and I kind of want to go lay down and play video games. My husband in another life was getting his PhD. Oh, rad. Oh man, if I could do the math, I'm jealous for your husband. He might know. You ask him, Lex. I'm kidding. But there, yeah, I was really into physics, and I could definitely, like, deep dive into the theoretical stuff, but I cannot do the math. Not a math person. But I always was very jealous of all the people who could do the math and do all the wild physics. Like, get really into physics. That's cool. That's cool. Your husband is cool. Tell your husband he's cool. It has a very cartoony art style. Okay, storyteller. Let me see if I can find that. Because it sounds... Oh, the princess is here. I will, though. He loves brain teasers. Oh, yeah, I mean, he was gonna get his PhD in physics. He's the kind that would. Okay, if he had some crazy answer, I'll thank you. Yes, please do. I will. Thank you. Absolutely let me know what he says. Because he was absolutely probably gonna know better than myself or my very superficial search on Google. Let's see here. I'm assuming it's like an app. Princess! My god, princess. Let's see here. Let's see here. No, we could do it. You know, that's fine. We'll do another sprint. Oh, it's on Steam. Oh. Is it? Yeah, we can do another sprint. I will be strong. I will be strong, and we shall do one more sprint. Let me see here. That actually sounds familiar. I've probably seen it. Storyteller. I don't know. I don't know how I did this, but I ended up setting up a family view on Steam, and I don't even know how I did that. And now I have to type a pin in anytime I... What is happening? What? Oh, there it is. Oh, I see it. Okay, there we go. Ooh. Okay. audio really quick. Let me kill the audio so I can see this. Let's hear. Oh no, I didn't even know that was an option. Oh, what option? I was babbling. What did I say? What was the option? Oh, is it Annapurna? Oh, that's why. I do love pretty much anything that Annapurna. Oh, the family view on Steam. Yeah, it's a weird thing, and I want it to go away. I think I initially tried to do it because I was trying to share my library with friends. And and for whatever reason, I think I went down a rabbit hole and I messed up and set up this family view thing. I think it's like designed obviously for like a shared account if you have kids. Because I have to like type in my thing all the time because it's like, are you sure you're allowed to view this? Are you sure you want to buy this? And I'm like, I'm the adult. There are no children here, save the furry ones, and they're not buying games on Steam. I kind of love this, Lex. This looks great. Ooh, right. You are getting added to my wish list. Ooh, I really like this. This looks cool. I have the adult money. Exactly, yeah. It's like, stop telling me what I can and can't do. I have enough. I'm stressed out enough as it is. The only benefit of being an adult now is that I'm the adult. That's all I got. Everything else is terrible. Yeah, I've loved like Annapurna games is I don't know, they like nail almost every game that they make. You know, because they're definitely very like artsy games, you know. They come from that world, so I'm a big fan of them, and I loved Stray, and The Remains of Edith Finch. Oh yeah, and they did Outer Wilds too, and Journey. Yep. I think Annapurna originally done by the Beastie Boy? I think that company, because it's a movie company too, but I think they started out and were founded by one of the Beastie Boys. I'm pretty sure. Might be wrong. Also, speaking of fun art styles, I recently watched Hazbin Hotel. Okay, Liz was talking about that. On Prime, which is the A24 musical cartoon about hell, and it was a great time. Oh, yes, I need to watch it. And it's on Prime, too, so I have it, which is nice. Yes, I need to watch Hazbin Hotel. And that's A24. That's right, you were going down... If I remember correctly, you were going down the A24 list, weren't you? Weren't you and your husband going down watching, like, a bunch of A24 movies? Was that you? That might have been someone else. I thought it was you. Yeah, okay, that was you. Yes, the A24 rabbit hole. Oh, that was with your brother. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Awesome. How has that been going, Liz? Have you saw anything that really stuck out to you? A24 wise? I mean, there's good stuff. They are I still, depending on the types of movies you're into, man, I've got some favorites that come from the A24 lineup. Like After Sun still to this day is one of my favorites. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love it. It's good. It's like a vibes movie. It's a good vibes movie. I want to see if I was right or I was wrong about this. Okay. Okay, it's founded by Megan Ellison. Okay, I guess I was wrong. I was wrong. Founded by Megan Ellison. I thought that that was done by yeah, I guess I was totally wrong. Totally wrong. Everything Everywhere All at Once is my favorite. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm glad you liked it. Okay, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a fantastic little movie. I really liked it. I don't think I was as enamored with it as everybody else was, but I thought it was very very good. I loved it. Like I definitely like choked up and cried during it. And thematically, it like very heavily leans into like a lot of the Buddhist philosophy stuff that I'm very into. So it's you're gonna get a lot of points automatically from it. But man, and obviously Michelle Yeoh's just amazing in everything. But I love Everything Everywhere All at Once is it's really great. It's really great. The Lighthouse is one of my favorite movies ever. I I I still think it's Robert Eggers' best movie. Like I love The Witch. The Witch is probably his next, and I love The Northman too. But man, The Lighthouse, beauty, beauty. Uh, it scratches specific trauma itch for me. I have a lot of friends uh, who had some deeply, deeply troubled relationships with their mother. Who I think that movie hit on a level that I will never understand. Well, not understand, but that just won't hit me in the same way. Even though like all that stuff emotionally is very effective to me, I think it's kind of the way I describe Life Aquatic, where I understand why people are turned off to that movie, but like Steve Zissou literally was my dad. That's like what my dad was like. It's probably the best way I could describe anyone if I just point and be like, "What's your dad like?" Imagine Steve Zissou, but a pilot, like an Alaskan pilot. So like, I have. That's why I'm like, yeah, people don't. It's okay. I have like an intense relationship with that movie because it hits a very particular point. I also like The Witch, but I also love. I mean, it's hard not to love Anna Taylor Joy, and it's funny. A buddy of mine got to work with her, and said like, because I always said that she was my director crush, which is like the essentially like anytime there's an actor or an actress that is just like game to go to crazy places with you creatively, that's what I always refer to as my director crush. Um, and she seems that way, particularly with how I know how Robert Eggers works. That she just seems like she's always 100% game to just go to some crazy places and get and just do some wild performances. Um, and he got to work with her on the Dark Crystal, and he was like, "Yeah, no, that's exactly what she's like. She's like really in it for the craft and to like just get weird and crazy with it." So Anna Taylor Joy is probably one of my all time like number one, up there with people I would love to work with someday. Like yeah, I love actors I love actors like that. It's and I think people respond to their sort of like passion for it too. That's why I think people adore her. All right. We got ads. All right. Well, we'll go and let the ads wrap up, and then we'll go ahead and start the last sprint of the eve. What else is what's I'm trying to think what another good. The wildest A24 movie I've watched so far was the Dance Studio, where they all did a bunch of drugs. Okay, all right, that's and that's all I remember. Um, um, there's a few movies. There's a. Is that the one? Is that the one that's directed by that French filmmaker who did like Irreversible and Enter the Void? I can't remember what it was called. Was it called wasn't it called something like wasn't it called something like Sexual vaguely? Maybe I'm thinking of a different, because I remember one movie where it seemed to take place in a dance studio where everybody did drugs. and it's kind of done in the same way that I'm gonna have to look this up. I don't know, something about dance studio and everybody doing drugs is it reminds me of that movie. I'm not wild about it, but I think it was directed by the guy who did Irreversible and Enter the Void. I went to look it up and my phone froze. Yeah, I'm scrolling through A24's filmography right now. Everything. Oh, X is great. Red Rocket. Red Rocket's a good movie. You do remember? I think we're thinking about the same movie. I'm pretty sure. Although a movie about a dance studio where everyone does a bunch of drugs just seems like I don't want to make judgments about France, but it seems like a French movie. I don't know why. I'm like, yeah, it's probably a French movie. Was it called Climax? If it was called Climax, and yeah, it's directed by Gaspar Noé, and Gaspar Noé is the guy who did Irreversible and Enter the Void. If that's the movie you're thinking of, then it makes sense that that's the craziest movie you've ever seen, because every movie that guy makes is the most insane thing ever, but I also find it insufferable to a degree. If it was. Yeah, I actually don't even know if I finished this movie. Possibly. That does seem correct thematically. Yep. You're thinking about Climax. That's Gaspar Noé. Yep. Yeah, because all of his movies are like that. Irreversible, it's orange tints and red. It's Enter the Void is all just orange tints and reds and neon. Yeah, that's yeah, Gaspar Noé's a lunatic. Hello, princess. Yeah, I that does not surprise me that that's the craziest movie you've seen. I'm now it's like, did they do Titane? Because Titane's a wild movie. That's a crazy movie. That movie's really crazy. If you want something also kind of crazy. Oh, I guess they didn't do Titane. All right, I guess that makes sense why it's not on here. Princess thinks so too. Yeah, it really does. Uh, she's she's like, she's just like, no, not the weird French movie, Papa. Not the weird French movie. Don't worry, I'm not gonna put on the weird French movie. Although I did put on Boo Travail. I'm butchering that. It's a French title, but that was a really good movie. If you want to see a really interesting French movie that also has a lot of dancing, but is also about like patriarchy, it's kind of queer, and it's kind of about colonization and French colonization, but it's a really good movie. I highly recommend. It's French for beautiful work, and I'm butchering the name. But it's a very good movie. It's by a French filmmaker named Claire Denis. She's one of my favorite I don't have a lot of French directors I like, but she's up there. She's like one of the best. But it's a good movie. It's a good like vibes movie. Okay, that sounds more enjoyable. Yeah, it's a lot more enjoyable than any. Gaspar knows too much for me. Also, when you watch Enter the Void, I don't have a problem with strobes, but I felt like I was about to have a seizure watching that movie. Here, let me see if I can. I will. Let me see if I can. I don't know. Let me see what's it streaming on YouTube. I guess it's on HBO Max. If you happen to have HBO Max, it looks like Boo Travail's on that. But I will copy link. Let's see. Can I put that in the? Oop. Can I share links? Am I gonna get auto modded? I auto-modded myself. There you go. That's the movie Butchervale. If you end up wanting a weird French movie that I would recommend. And it is on. It looks like it's on HBO. I think it's on HBO because I know it's a Criterion movie, and HBO has a lot of Criterion movies in their Turner Classic Movies section. So, but yeah, I highly recommend. Good vibes. Good vibe movie. Um, do. All right, cool. And if for whatever reason, if you want another movie that's kind of about what it's like to grow up and be a parent and disassociated from a father instead of a mother or something like that, I highly recommend After Sun, and that is an A24 movie. Um, but that was my number two movie of 2022. It was that and Tar, and I highly recommend After Sun. After Sun is a poetic beauty. I'm a slave to capitalism, so I have all the services. It feels like true, right, Lex? It is true. I've actually purged a lot of them, just for my own like mental health because it's like choice overload. So unless it has something very specifically I'm looking for, I'll like sign up for a month just so I can watch it and then I'll cancel it after. But I just had to get rid of it. It was too much, and I'm also still kind of a physical. I like to have physical media, like books or movies. So I just noticed I was like scrolling through everything I could watch instead of like what I would do, which is usually walk over to a movie I would want to watch and grab it off the shelf and put it in. So I'm trying to be more like intentional with it, but I understand the fact that like you talk to anybody. Uh, mm, yes, and oh no, oh I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like bring that out, but yes, it's here it's spelled this like after sun, like the after image of a sun, but it's about yeah, it's here I'll send you the I mean it's a beautiful movie. It's just the only way I can describe it is I cried. It's poetically it's also just perfect filmmaking, but it is a gorgeous film. Um, but yeah, those are my two recommends. There you go. Those are my two recommends for you. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into this last sprint. I will stop yapping and babbling, and we can be off to the races. All right. Happy writing, everybody. We'll see you on the other side. Oh, man. All right, everybody. That is the end of that sprint, and that is the last sprint of the evening. Ugh. Ugh. I need to go make myself some food, and probably try to go to sleep and kick this cold. Fred M1607. Hopefully Fred is okay. If not, let me know. But welcome in. Absolutely delightful to have another filmmaker, screenwriter hanging out with us. Can't wait to read and hear about all the rad things you're doing. And super, super big time congrats on having your first major screenplay actually in production and getting made. It's exciting. Big time. Exciting, rare, and magical. So, yeah, man, that's like magic in a bottle. Ugh. All right, everybody. I think I am gonna call it. I love you all. Let's see, and yeah, I think it is time for me to take my leave. But thank you so much, Lex. I think it's getting better. It's just this thing has kicked my butt this week, so I'm looking forward to being a normal human being very soon. But in the meantime, I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful weekend. I'm going to try, we'll see how I feel, but shoot for maybe trying to do like a hangout, maybe a video game or something on Sunday. But if that doesn't turn out, we will be back working on the writing next week. Probably Monday or Tuesday, and then Friday as usual. All right, everybody. Love you all. Take care. Happy writing. We'll see you next week. Adios.